let's move on to something less rage-inducing.
No, more rage. All the rage, all the time.
Well, I mean, this is kind of rage-inducing. So, amid election year push on reproductive rights, Senate to hold test vote on access to contraception. So you remember how all the Republicans are like, "Nah, we'd never outlaw contraception,"
No, never.
and it's like, yeah, but you're also not voting to protect our access to it. And I say our access, but realistically, they're only going to regulate the ones that are most relevant to women.
I don't need you giving my audience more arguments in favor of Suris and Preg.
I mean,
Nope, you mean nothing. You stop now.
I can't wait to meet the little one. I'm happy for you, Insaki.
Wanna die.
So, in an election year effort to put Republicans on record on reproductive rights issues, Senate Democrats are holding a vote on Wednesday to move forward with legislation, yep, designed to protect women's access to contraception. And yeah, it's a test vote because the Senate basically at this point is like, yeah, no, we're not getting any bipartisan shit done before the election because the Republicans are a bunch of shitbags. And so Chuck Schumer and the Democrats are instead putting stuff up for votes that is going to showcase how shitty the Republicans are.
Now the question is, will that matter?
So yeah, they're also looking to do the same thing with IVF. Oh, Katini is here.
It's a canon event, Suris. God damn it.
Katini is here. Well, yeah, as soon as somebody draws fan art of it, it's canon.
Yep.
Because that's how it works. Who's the daddy, though? Is it Saki or me?
I mean, you're the only male here, so I guess. I guess it's you.
I mean, you don't have a uterus, but you're going to be pregnant anyway, so does it matter who's the male?
Welcome to 2024, everybody. Science has come too far.
Yeah. Sir suddenly becomes gender critical because he doesn't want to be pregnant.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So yeah, the Democrats are putting all these bills up just to get the Republicans on record as saying no, I oppose this, because they're big voting issues, like access to contraceptive. So Democrats will put reproductive freedoms front and center before this chamber so that American people can see for themselves who will stand up to defend their fundamental liberties.
Won't be the Republicans.
Yeah,
it's never the Republicans.
It never is. Yeah, so then we got random pictures again, because this happens when I get stories from the AP. They're just random pictures in the middle. Like, this story has nothing to do with Trump, but there he is twice. And I don't know who that is. Iowa Department of Justice? So.
Yay.
Someone did something. Oh, that's a hat. Tinfoil. This is still the original tinfoil hat, but it's starting to get a little rough. Doesn't fit quite as well as it used to.
The tinfoil hat doesn't fit as well anymore. Is that honestly so bad?
Maybe.
Like, I don't think the tinfoil hat needs to fit quite as well and snug. I think it should be very uncomfortable to wear.
Let me just,
just
curl it up into roll it into a ball and chew on it for a bit.
Yeah, we need to facilitate some lessons learned.
So, minority Republicans scoffed, saying that the political messaging votes were unserious distractions from legislation they would like to vote on. Counterpoint, they don't actually want to vote on anything, it seems. Because anytime there's anything serious and that actually needs to be voted on in front of them, they put it off and they don't vote on it until there's like almost a constitutional crisis, and they wait till the last minute and then they do it. And then they fight over who should be the speaker next. I know that's the House, not the Senate. Excuse me, but still. The Senate doesn't have the same clowns in it that the House does. But they're not much better. So, while most Republicans would oppose any restrictions on contraception, they're unlikely to back the Democrats' political push, which is weird, because, like, if you don't oppose restrictions on contraception, why not just codify that? Just vote to say, okay, we agree that everybody has the right to access this sort of thing. If that's actually your stance, why not just do it?
That would require work. That would require the Republicans doing a job of any kind.
Here's the thing that I don't understand. We got Maine Senator Susan Collins, who wasn't she a former Democrat? Was she one of the ones that switched recently?
I think so.
Yeah, so she's one of the few Republican senators who supports abortion rights, said on Monday that she is likely to vote to move forward on the legislation, but that she would want the bill to be amended to include more religious liberty protections. What religious liberty protections? If I decide that, okay, not me, because I don't have a uterus, so that doesn't really... If my partner decides that she wants to be on the pill, how, like, that's her choice.
Yeah,
like, where does religious liberty even come into play here?
The liberty to prevent women from having control over their bodies.
Are they talking about, like, pharmacists dispensing these pills? Saying, like, oh, it's against your religion to dispense this medication that's been prescribed by a doctor? Because, like, that shouldn't be a thing. If you are a pharmacist and you are unwilling to dispense certain medications when prescribed by a doctor, then maybe this is a hot take, but you shouldn't be a pharmacist.
Yeah, like, I'm not going to give you Plan B. Because
are we talking about healthcare plans covering this sort of shit? Because, again, if healthcare plans should just cover a prescription, like, I don't know how it works in the States. Like, in Canada, if you have a prescription coverage in your healthcare plan, any prescription your doctor writes is just covered by that plan. And the standard is 80%. 80% of the cost is covered, and so you have to pay, like, maybe $10 for your prescriptions.
So here, an insurance company can actually just straight up deny coverage for things by going, well, that looks like non-essential care. Yeah, we know your doctor said it's essential, but...
That sounds like bullshit.
Welcome to America.
So I feel like, forget the friggin' contraceptive issue. It should just be, if a doctor prescribes something for a patient, then it's covered.
Yeah, I wish that was the case.
Is that really such a hot take? That if a doctor thinks it's necessary, then you do it? And you cover it?
So it shouldn't be a hot take, and I agree with you that it shouldn't be a hot take. I also live here, and this place is made of bullshit.
Because, like, Canada could be better. There are countries out there with better healthcare systems than Canada, but, like, I can tell you, like, from the things that have happened in my household in the last month, I would be fucking bankrupt right now if I had to deal with the American bullshit system.
Mm-hmm.
Like, 100%. It's like, it's...
A lot of trans people in the United States would be able to properly transition if they actually, had their shit covered, but we have to have this lovely back and forth battle all the time, which is one of the reasons why it's good that, like, places like Plume and shit exist where they'll just go, look, we can't do the insurance thing, but we can just tell you that this is a thing that you need, and then you can go get it from the Amazon pharmacy, which is still expensive as shit. Like, progesterone isn't the most expensive thing in the world, but estradiol is.
Yeah. So here's the thing that really bothers me about this, though. Like, I don't know if we really need to go... no, I want to talk about Glenn Youngkin. So in Virginia, Glenn Youngkin vetoed bills from Democratic-controlled legislature that would have protected the right to contraception earlier this year. He said that...
Of course.
He said that he supports the right to birth control, but that we cannot trample on the religious freedoms of Virginians. It doesn't violate anyone's religious freedoms to let people have access to birth control. If your religious freedoms require restricting other people's access to things, then your religion sucks.
It's illegitimate.
That's not your religious freedom. Your religious freedom, like the whole, like, oh, my freedom to swing my fist ends at somebody else's nose. What happened to that? Your religious freedom ends at other people being affected by your religion. People that
Mhm.
like people that don't share your religion should not have to adhere to your religion. Otherwise, it violates their religious freedom. Sakura says, "Your religious freedom ends at my face." Exactly.
Yeah, it should.
But so the main thing I really want to talk about here is just like, yes, this is an important issue, but like, what the fuck is up with the filibuster? Why is that a thing?
Oh, I can tell you exactly why it's a thing. Actually,
I
there's
know
a historic.
I know why it's a thing, but why is it
Yeah,
a thing?
because historically the Senate was the aristocracy and the House of Representatives was from the it was considered the lower house. So the lower house didn't have the ability to do a filibuster because they needed to go the fuck back to work afterwards, but the aristocracy basically had nothing better to do, so they were allowed to do the filibuster to waste time.
So
That's that like
I
if you
actually
want to know
hadn't
why
seen
the
it from that.
filibuster's a,
I
if you
hadn't
want to
seen
know
it
why
from
the
that
filibuster's a
perspective
thing,
before, but
that's basically why the fuck it's a thing.
so for those of you who aren't familiar, the filibuster is basically historically what it was if you opposed a bill in the Senate, you were in the Senate, what you could like there was an unlimited time allotted for debate for bills. So if you opposed
Mhm.
a bill, you could just get up and debate the bill for as long as it took for other people to get tired of it and be like, I just want to go home. Fine, we'll just put the bill on the table. We'll just table that. So you could get the and the typically it has been used to oppose civil rights advances. So like the record for longest speech given in American history, American political history, was when a senator opposed an anti-segregation bill and he filibustered for 24 hours. So what used to happen was you had to actually get up and you had to talk for the entire time. You had to just keep talking until everybody else got tired and went home. And that's how you defeated something with a filibuster. But then in the 70s, people were like, "You know what? Talking is hard work. So why don't we just be like, hey, yeah, I would do the filibuster thing, but we all know that that takes a lot of time and energy, so let's just pretend that I did the filibuster thing and count that as valid and say that y'all went home without voting on it." And so all you had to do is stand up and say, "I object," and they would count that as a filibuster. And so the rule that they had to bypass that was like, if you have 60 votes, then you can say, okay, well, we agree to end the debate period, so filibustering doesn't work anymore. But if you have anywhere between 51 and 60, that's not enough to bypass the filibuster. So anybody they just have to say, yeah, I object. That's it. And they are now considered to have spoken for long enough to get everybody tired to go home. Like, I don't even necessarily say you need to get rid of the filibuster, but if you're going to keep the filibuster, at least get rid of get rid of the thing where you don't have to get up and actually talk for it. Like, bring back the talking filibuster and see
Make
if
it
they're
so
still
they have
willing
to
to
do
do it.
it.
Like, if you
Ooh,
if you
can
actually
I
want to
be a-
oppose it, fucking put in the work to oppose it.
Can I be a senator so that I can do a filibuster where I talk about the history of Sonic the Hedgehog, beginning
You
from Sonic 1 into all of the Sega Game Gear games, moving into the history that I'm going to stick the most of my time on talking about Sonic Adventure 2.
you
And
probably
then
cannot be a senator because you live in Georgia and you would register as a Democrat, I would think. So
fuck.
you're like, I mean, not necessarily Georgia, because like Georgia's Democrat, got Democratic senators right now. Is it senators or House?
Raphael, I think they got Raphael Warnock,
Yeah,
right?
Warnock. Yeah, so senators,
Yeah.
you guys have Democratic senators right now, but that being said, you're in Marjorie Taylor Greene's district, so like, eh.
Yeah. Kazumi says, "Are you going to include Ken Penders?" Ooh, I can include the history of Ken Penders and the mismanagement of the Sega lawsuits
Yep.
with Archie Comics and how many characters he owns now. I could fucking do
You have to
that.
find a way to tie it in the bill, though. Otherwise, I assume somebody would be able to object to something.
Oh, absolutely. That's super easy. Whatever the bill it is, I can just use the fact that Sonic began his entire story as an eco-terrorist and Robotnik was actually the one in charge of the world's governments.
Yeah, well, my point is, like, if you're going to keep the filibuster, you should keep the talking ones so that, like, they actually have to put their money where their mouth is, or put their mouth where their mouth is.
Smacko, I object. Shadow was created using the supersonic mural from Sonic 3 and... Sir, this is a Wendy's?
No, this is the Senate.
Stav says Suris wants to be autistic in Congress, confirmed.
Ted Cruz literally read Green Eggs and Ham. You know, so I just discovered today, did you know Dr. Seuss, before he got into writing children's books, he actually wrote an adult book involving a bunch of naked ladies?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, it's called The Seven Godivas. And it's like, you know, the story of Lady Godiva riding her horse through the town naked.
Very, very... It's a thing that I have heard of, but not a thing that I remember any details of.
Yeah, so he basically like, oh, this is the true story of what happened there. It wasn't actually one Godiva, it was seven sisters, Lady Godiva. And then like he uses it to explain all of our horse-based sayings. Like never look a gift horse in the mouth. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. That horse was an alcoholic who died of dehydration rather than drink the water that was led to. But yeah, no, I just found out about that today. And it was actually like, that book was so poorly received that is what caused him to transition into writing kids' books. Because he's like, no, adults suck because they don't get me. So I'm just going to write kids' books.
You know what? That's endearing. I'm happy to share a birthday with the dude.
You share a birthday with Dr. Seuss?
Yeah, his birthday's March 2nd.
Awesome. So,
like I'm very happy about that. I also like all of the political or not propaganda, but the political messaging he wrote.
The anti-Nazi stuff that he did in World War II. Yep, that's pretty fucking amazing.
About the America First movement.
Yep.
Yeah,
it's all quite relevant to today.
I like me some Seuss.
Dr. Seuss was good people.
Hey, I just quickly want to give a thank you to all of my wonderful patrons who keep this show running. YouTube and Twitch are a pretty bumpy ride at the best of times, and the stability that Patreon provides me is worth more than I can say here. I'd also like to thank each and every one of my $20 and up patrons here, and they would be Red Joker, Britzkrieg, Cameron, Dren, Jemshin, Smiling DM, Poundini, Mabbity Babbity, Naomi, Isaac, Nixie-chan, the Oberon team, Agamotto, Jordan, Ravi, Giuni, Kiratorian, Prisma, all of you, I'm not saying that part, and Starlight. And finally, thank you to everyone else that helps keep this channel alive. While you're here, why not check out another video? And thank you for watching.